In the psychic's chair, the veil between worlds thins, as the smoke deep and let the unseen truths of the immersed, guiding us into the unknown.
Well, good evening and welcome to another program of In the Psychic's Chair, coming to you from the wonderful surroundings of Craiginos Castle. And what a beautiful day to be filming our 7th episode. Our guest medium this evening is Gethin Myers. Hello, Gethin.
Pleasure to be here.
He'll be joining us a little bit later on in the Psychic's Chair. So in the meantime, don't forget, Jeremy Marsh will be along with me as we chat a little bit about the channeling work that we did, and no doubt sharing one or two videos from that time. And of course, our medium in residence, Elaine Taylor, will also be joining us, and Gethin and Elaine and I will be having a little walk around the castle and meeting some of our friends. So sit back and enjoy another exciting episode of In the Psychic's Chair.
9 ghost stories to fuel paranormal paranoia for insomniacs. A man unable to say no. A headless horse seeks revenge. An ancient castle lost in time. A medium guided by a haunted pen. The whispering windmill. An abandoned railway station. A girl and a raven. A secret passageway. And the very strange absent ball. Illustrated by Jill Brooks and written by Lazarus Carpenter. Available from Amazon, Lulu, Artist and Makers Emporium.uk and LazarusCarpenterAuthor.com.
Well, hello and welcome to Jeremy Marsh, of course, the historian here at Craiginos Castle. And Jeremy was the scribe and question master when we did nearly 2 years research, wasn't it?
Yes, it passed rather quickly, really. And I mean, how many interviews did we do?
Over 200.
Over 200, was
Yeah,
it?
over 200.
I know it was quite an amount, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit hard to choose out the clips for Showboat John, wasn't it, really, for the TV series? But yeah, we did over 200. But of course, we separated it up into the times of the castle, didn't we? 1843 to 1877.
Yes, we went through the Powell family, as we would say, and then of course we moved into the Morgan family, and eventually to Adelina, and then of course we had the hospital time, which was quite sad years really for a lot of people. But I mean, the thing that I remember is the characters that come to mind, like Arthur Williams.
Now there was a character. Arthur Williams worked for Con Hibbett, didn't he, in the gardens?
In the garden, yes.
During the time of Adelina.
That's right, and he also had a helper who was quite an amusing chap.
In a minute, Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But of course, Arthur became much more than that, because we had so many people, or spirits should I say, trying to come through you. But they needed what would you say, a gatekeeper or something?
Yeah, I think gatekeepers. That's a good word, doorkeeper anyway.
Yes. And he seemed to take charge of that, didn't he?
It was just as well, because there was a point, wasn't there, where it was getting a little bit hectic. I mean, I knew nothing because I was asleep, so whatever went on. But we did find, didn't we, when we were looking at films, that sometimes it was one or two or three or four, sometimes all trying to get in at the same time. Yes. So as much as my guide Radin was able to control what came into me, what he couldn't control was what was happening on the other side. So yes, Ogford took control, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And of course he was the only one that would stand up to the Baron when he decided to make an appearance, which is not the right word, but a connection.
Yeah.
And he put him in his place, didn't he?
She gone? Is he?
Is that the Baron?
Well, of course it's the Baron. Who else do you think it was? She gone, has she?
Yes.
I thought I'd sneak in, listen. And spoken to her. I wasn't allowed to. Last time I came to say hello, I was pushed away. Bloody Miner, his name is. Forever pushing me away. Anyway, not pushing me away today, I can tell you. Well, it might.
And what news do you have for us?
News that I'm being pushed away again. That's what news I... What? No. I told him, see, I said, get out. He's always here, hanging about all the time. Bloody man, can't be doing it. Anyway, I'm going now. I got rid of him for you. So there you are. This is exciting, isn't it? Don't you not like it? You do. Yes. All right.
Yeah, it's important to tell viewers at this point that Baron Cederstrom does wander the castle on his own, and nobody particularly likes him, do they? Which is a shame, because we find him quite amusing, don't we, in lots of ways. But his life in spirit is that he does wander the castle on his own, and often guided by a small child.
Yes.
But what is interesting is that the spirit children in the castle, whenever he comes into a room, they're off. They don't like his energy at all. But he makes no bones about the fact he doesn't like children either, does he?
No, no.
And yet, he was the very man who criticised Adelina for not being able to give him a child when she was 56. I mean, it doesn't make sense, does it? Really?
Yes, when they were married, he was, what, 30 years old?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
she was 56.
Yeah,
Correct, yes.
Yes.
But of course, he used to go over to the cottage, the gardener's cottage, because he had a few children there, didn't he? And she loved to go over there when she could and see them. So I think she did have, how can we say,
Surrogate children.
yes.
I mean, Adelina loved children, didn't she? And it was a sadness for her that, I mean, she told us that she was sad that she'd never been able to have them. But I think she was probably more sad that she hadn't had children with Niccolini rather than with the Baron, because he was much more of a...
He was a different character.
Yeah,
he
totally.
Was, he was much more approachable and came across, from what we read in history and so on, he was more of a kind, approachable man.
I mean, do you remember the film when he came through and he was sad about Adelina and that he couldn't always get to talk to her when he would like to, even though their paths often crossed in spirit?
Yes. It was rather sad, really, I think, in some respects. Right? You find that?
I mean, I often, especially if I'd been channeling somebody like Niccolini, afterwards, when I woke up, I'd feel an overwhelming sense of sadness, but not for long. But it was there, you know. You sort of bring in those residual feelings with you when you come back into full consciousness, but not as much as with the children.
Yes.
With the children, I mean, the stories that we had from them were sad. And if anybody's interested, there is a book called The Children of Craigie-Nos, which is basically around what the TV series was created about, wasn't it?
Yes.
Not ours, The Children of Craigie-Nos.
Yes, the Channel 4 program, I think it was. It was, well, it's compelling reading, really. So many different stories.
But it also demonstrates, doesn't it, within the book, the sadness that we picked up from the interviews as well, because children would come here with TB and be isolated, and yet they weren't isolated because they were banged in a room with probably another 30 or 40 children in beds which were quite close to each other, and literally almost sometimes strapped into the bed so that they couldn't move because they... I mean, God knows what the rationale was for any of that, but they weren't allowed to move, were they?
That's right. We had one of the ladies that was in the book you mentioned, Sylvia Moore. She came back to see us a few years ago, obviously in her 80s. But she recalled when she arrived here that she was placed in a very small room, very small room. We know which one that is. And she was alone there for 6 months before she joined the children in Ward 2, which is on the second floor.
Which we'll go up and take Gethin up there later on, shall we? Yeah. Right, okay. Well, we'll be back again next week with more stories, and hope you enjoyed the clip that we showed of Ogfor as well. Thanks, Jeremy. Talk again next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
MostHauntedCastle.com Paranormal investigations with a difference. Visit our website or ring reception for details. 01639 731167.
Well, hello and welcome to In the Psychic's Chair, guest psychic in the chair tonight, Gethin Myers. Hi, Gethin.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to In the Psychic's Chair.
Thank you.
I wonder if we could maybe start by you just describing your journey towards spirit, where you are today.
Oh God. So when I was younger, I used to see a lot of things happen around my house. I didn't really think much of it. I just thought I was going a bit mad if I went. There's a few occasions where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd see like figures, and I'd describe them to like my mum and dad. And all my mum and dad's family, they died way before I was even an idea. So when I described them and then they showed me the pictures, and I was like, oh wow, that's the person I saw. I didn't really think much of it, and then a couple of years went by, and my mum went to go to a spiritualist church on her own, and I was like, oh, I don't want you going on your own, so I'll go with you. So I sat in the audience, not really being a believer or anything like that, and the medium came to me and they was like, oh, you're going to be working and you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that, and I was like, oh, you probably say that to everyone. It's very generic. Then the next medium, then the next week, exactly the same message. If you wrote it down on a piece of paper, it was exactly the same word for word. And I was like, well, they've spoke beforehand, haven't they? Well, this went on for 10 weeks. And I was like, well, if 10 different people are saying it, I'm fed up with this now. I'm going to go on a course. I'm going to prove it's a load of rubbish. And on the course, the mentor, she went to me, she went, right, give me a month. And I was like, oh, all right, this is the first thing that popped in my head. She was, all right, give me this, give me that. And I was like, I'm getting all these other feelings and pictures and stuff coming in my head. She was like, just say them. So I went to this woman, I said, I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like my lungs are filling up with like a fluid. And this lady just started crying, and I was like, oh, was this something I said? Like, you know. But it
Son had drowned, had he?
yeah,
Right.
turned out her dad had passed away from blood on the lungs. And I was like, well, how would I know this? So this kind of sent me in this spiral of, how did I know it? So I went and read as many books as I could. I was asking all the questions. I started sitting in circle. I started to develop it a lot more, and I just fell in love with it. And from this journey, it's kind of sent me down a completely different path. I'm a completely different person to where I was. I'm now sober. Been sober over 4 years because of this journey.
Let me stop you for a moment. So just a little bit of a recap, because this is a fascinating story. I mean, you started out by seeing relatives that you'd never ever met before, and were able to describe them to your mum and dad and this and that and the other. That's amazing, because that's almost like your family were coming to say hi to you because they weren't able to say hi in the normal way. And then you're out, really, to prove that it's all rubbish, that there's nothing in it at all, that people are making it up. And you're quite right. I mean, we do hear things like that all the time, don't we? But every now and again, it's true.
Yes,
It was true for you.
100%.
You said you changed. You just mentioned that, you know, you've been sober for 4 years. Do you think that working with spirit and giving service has helped you on that journey too?
100%, because I think when you're giving a service and you're working with spirit, you understand yourself more, because you need to understand how you can add your personality while still keeping the spirit's personality. Because sometimes people, they get carried away and they think it's all about them. So I need to understand what is me and what is spirit. So then I got that different. So I went on a massive healing journey because of this spiritual journey. And yeah, absolutely, everything that I do for spirit has changed, not just how I work, but my life in general. So it is definitely a lifestyle rather than, you know, a job then, if you will.
You come across, yeah, absolutely. You come across to me as somebody who's very whole, very grounded, very centered, and very focused on your life of service. How's that make you feel?
That's probably summed it up quite well, because I never used to be this way. I used to be quite chaotic, used to have a very scattered brain. But the more I've come into this, and like I said, because I understand myself more, I can be true to myself. I can align with my journey a lot more than before, where I didn't really have purpose. I didn't really have direction.
Can I ask you a $64,000 question?
You may.
I think I asked this most weeks. I'm not sure. But if I don't, I will. Because here you are, having done this journey, and You read lots of books, you went on courses and this, that, and the other. But who are your real teachers?
Ourselves, I would say. I would say ourselves are because you can listen to the same piece of information from 10 different people and they'll all add their own touch to it, their own. And I think it's important that you just take the bits to make your own style, because when you are trying to fixate too much on this is how it's done, this is the right way, you've got to do it, it limits your connection, it limits how you deliver the evidence. Because sometimes, and I learned it from when I first started, it was like, this is the information you need to bring forward. And when I started going rogue and just allowing spirit to say what they wanted to say rather than, right, tell me your name, tell me this, tell me that, it flows a lot better and the evidence gets more narrow so that the person can feel more of a connection.
I love the expression going rogue. I can relate to that because I think there's an awful lot of alleged training that goes on that, doesn't help really that much. And it's almost as if, oh, well, this is the message I have and you should learn this way because this is how it is, blah, blah, blah. And it isn't, is it? Because we're all our own unique little telephone centers, shall we say, our own switchboard. And it's where we connect that enables us to get the right message that we've got to deliver. You have guides that you work with. How well do you know them?
So I used to very fixate on my spirit guides. So I learned the first 6. So my first ever one, I've got tattooed on my side.
Right.
His name was Julian. He was a samurai warrior, but he was an angel samurai warrior. Then I had a little tribesman called Wayne. I had a person called Alex, who was a nun. And then I had another one called Bruce. He was a London beheader. He was 6'9", huge. So I've never really had like
When
this.
you say he was a beheader, you mean he was an executioner?
Executioner.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
he came in with like the
He's
big
paying
axe
service,
and
isn't he?
yeah, exactly. With the axe and the mask. And I used to have people come up to me all the time and say like, "Oh, this is what your spirit guide is." And I've come to the conclusion now that I don't think it's important to know who they are, but know that they're there.
Yeah.
Because what was happening was I was fixating so much on knowing when they died and all this stuff that it kind of took away from the connection. So for me personally, I find it's easier when I just trust they're there, know the team can be however big it is, and there is no set standard to the spirit guide. And I also think that the biggest one is your own mind. I think different versions of yourself play a big part in your spirit team and
we
your
have to
limiting
know
beliefs.
our own sanity, don't we? Because
Exactly.
in working with spirit, certainly in the early days, I think if one is got a modicum of intelligence, that you do question your own sanity. And I think it's only natural to do that. You've got incarnate voices waffling in your ears and coming into your head. Well, in my days in psychiatry, it would have been 10 milligrams of haloperidol in a quiet room for a little while, So, I mean, but we all go through it. We have to go through it to find ourselves, yes?
Absolutely. So before I came into the journey, I used to headbutt walls, and that was one of the main reasons I became drinking, was to silence all the voices that was going on. I'd be walking down the street, bumping into people who wasn't there, and apologizing, turning back, they end there. So yeah, I was nearly getting tested for schizophrenia and everything, because I'd say to my mom like, "Didn't you see the person? Don't you hear this?" So yeah, it was that process.
So, I mean, how do you differentiate between a potential alcohol psychosis and
Exactly. So yeah, it was really difficult time, and I did really think that I am crazy. I don't have my sanity and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I came into this journey and started understanding it, how to like be disciplined. Where when I want to work, I work. When I want to, have a break from it, I can have a break. Whereas some mediums who are still on the circuit, they don't. They love the feeling of being connected all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's unhealthy.
Yes.
Personally, I mean, I used to go through the process of switching on and switching off, as it were, so to speak. Now, I don't do that anymore. I haven't done it for a long, long time. because my guides just know when it's not happening today, you know.
And that's exactly the same as me. So I used to go through the whole process, opening all your chakras, all that, because that's what you get taught.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I've proved that you don't need to. You can switch it on and off like that when the intent is there.
I wonder if, I mean, I think that may be the reason that people go through all of that, because that historic, almost Buddhist thing, isn't it? Where, know ourselves, know our energy centers so that we can control whatever energy we might be working with. And I think you're quite right. I don't think it is necessary because, we live in a multidimensional world. The veil is so thin. It's right here, right now. And, a medium such as yourself is able to step through that veil and experience what is coming to you and deliver it with total clarity, without any agenda. Evidence. How many people we see who fish?
Yeah. Yeah, evidence is a hard one because it's unique to the person what they class as evidence. Yes. Like some people, they'll be happy with a reading saying, I got your mum here, she's saying that you're very tired recently. To me, that's not evidence. No. I like so that it's definitely your mum. So your mum would have had like a scar on her face.
And her name's Maisie.
Yeah, and this is what I thrive to. So I am very hard on myself when I don't feel like I've delivered that sort of evidence.
I think that's healthy. I think that's very healthy because what you're striving for is to give perfection in the work that you're doing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Of course, we don't be too hard on ourselves. We'll stop doing it altogether. But because there are often days, aren't there, where we think, no, this has all been rubbish. How have I, in my case, 40 years, why? But then something will happen and right, okay. And your confidence in yourself is restored. I think that's the biggest problem for a lot of mediums nowadays, is confidence in themselves and confidence in what they hear and the ability to deliver it as they hear it, minus embellishment.
100%. So like a lot of people, they have the habit of changing what they're actually hearing. I'm guilty of it myself, but I'm getting better at just don't be scared to be wrong. Like a few people have watched me work and they'll come up to me and they was like, how do you just say it? How do you just not care if you're wrong or right? Because there's been numerous times where I've said something and they've been like, no, and I've just moved on. I've been like, hold on to it because I've double checked with them. I don't want to make it fit. Like it is what I heard, so hold on to it. And then a couple of weeks later, they'll message me like, oh my God, what you said is right. And it's just that trust in yourself, trust in spirit, that they're not going to let you down.
I mean, I've seen you work, Ethan, and you have a lovely energy about you when you work. It's quite humorous as well, but you move very quickly. You're getting stuff, you're not interpreting it, you're delivering it as quickly as you get it, and then on to the next person, which is really good. Because I think that's what an audience in a church or whatever want to hear, because they don't want to sit and watch paint dry all night, do they? Really?
Yeah, no, you're very right on that. I do think some mediums, it's like a private sit-in when you're in the church, because I'm not taking offense to everyone receives information differently, but sometimes you need to learn when to break the connection yourself and move on. Whereas some mediums, because they've got that connection and they're building their confidence, because they're getting all the yeses, they'll stick onto the one person. Whereas, like you just said, I've limited myself to a maximum of 8 minutes, 10 minutes at a push.
That's
and
a
move
long
on.
time, 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So this is why 5 to 8 minutes, I think, is the perfect amount, because obviously getting rolling, it takes about 2 minutes, and then the information, sometimes one word is enough for people. You don't need to give them everything. Sometimes just one word. And the example that comes to my mind every time was I had this lady come forward, and all she said was, she'll know it's me, just tell her to breathe, right? And that's all she said. I said, she hasn't told me if it's a mom or anything. This lady's bawling her eyes out, and her mom's last words before she died was, just breathe. And that's all she needed, So yeah, I do think sometimes it is the smaller the information sometimes has a bigger impact.
It's because it's a real memory, isn't it? And it's a memory that touched the heart, and they never go away. And I mean, when you get links like that, you're onto a relative winner. But you're quite right. I mean, people do tend to sort of hang on, and you can see audiences. And when you have a look round, you can see people going, when's it my turn?
Yeah. No.
You know, and it won't be, because that
Yeah.
other person's getting all the attention. I agree with you. People should have more control over what they're doing, and they should know when to move on.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to give more and more and more and more.
Yeah, because that's the thing a lot of people don't understand is spirit needs us just as much as we need spirit.
Yeah, indeed.
Whereas a lot of people, they put spirit onto this big pedestal and everything. But me personally, I think we're both equal. We're just on different planes. We're on a different frequency, as I describe it. And I think it's about meeting each other in the middle rather than you trying to get to them all the time and making them out to be a lot better than us.
And isn't it interesting how, you know, you get some people say, oh, well, you know, spirit's over there somewhere. They're here.
Yeah.
They're here. Right here. That's how close the next time the spirit dimension is to us. Why is that? Well, I think it's because of the fact that we're all connected all of the time, you know, and whatever about past lives, future lives, or whatever, the reality is that when we pass, that's where we are until we decide something else.
Yes.
And if we've decided something else and we're not there, well, we're not going to get picked up by a medium, are we?
No, and you're absolutely right there. And I think once energy is created, it don't disappear. So I always describe it as all we're doing is we're tuning our brains into a different frequency.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're like a broken radio, and that's all it is. And this is why you have everyone is in the same place. It's just depending what lens you want to look through, depends how you see the world, you know. Obviously, like there's people who say like there's angels, there's these pixies, there's fairies, you know.
Yeah.
And
horses for courses.
Exactly.
Psilocybin's very good for the brain, apparently.
Yeah. That's right.
See a lot of pixies on psilocybin. Yeah.
So and
so they tell me anyway.
It's just because of the lens they're looking through. You know, it's like if you want to go down like the healing side, you know, there's hundreds of different forms of healing. It's all the same because it's all from the same energy.
I mean, that's a very interesting point for me, because I think that the first place healing comes from is here.
Yeah.
And the rest, quite often, is just a waste of time.
100%.
You know, I mean, we are invested in making. When I used to work some years ago, and I have a toolbox of skills. You know, counselling, psychotherapy, curative hypnotherapy, various other things, as well as being a psychic. You know, and I would pick out of my box whatever was needed for Mrs. Jones or whatever, and there might be 3 or 4 things I would do all differently, all at the same time. You know, it would work, and the reason it would work was purely and simply because they were getting what they needed.
100%, and that's a key point. If you start believing that it's going to work, 9 times out of 10 it's going to work. You know, even if you have to do it for like 2 weeks, believing 3 weeks, 4 weeks, eventually, if you believe it enough. It's going to start working. And this is how I changed my life, is because I believed I deserved more. I did believe that I was capable of more. And because I had no other choice but to, all of a sudden things started falling into place. And it's the same with my mediumship. I believed that I could give a better quality message. And now my message is from where I started to where I am now, I'm much better. But I still believe there's so much more I can do.
I mean, I still learn something new every day. You know, and I think anybody who comes across as, oh, well, I know it all now, you know, a bit of a delusion going on there, you know, because how can we possibly know it all? It's impossible.
Exactly.
And our techniques, our individual techniques, get more and more refined the more experience that we have.
100%. And I think that's another problem with some of the mediums on platform at the moment, is they've got too complacent, they've got too confident in their ability, and then they start to not move forward, but they stay still. And
they're also ignoring the needs of their audience.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're just focusing on this, oh, I'm right, I'm in the spotlight, that kind of thing. And the ego shows through rather than, like, if I really wanted to, I could be the center of the attention. But the whole point why I'm there is to show that there's life after
death.
You're
a facilitator.
Exactly. Yeah. We're basically the phone. You know, that's it. It's not about us. It's about the person sitting there and the spirit having a conversation.
And there is this power trip, isn't there, that people get off on, which I find really, I mean, I have to leave the room. I really do, because my tolerance to that sort of thing as I've got older has worn thinner and thinner and thinner, because it's a waste of my time, you know. We want it bang, bang, bang. We want Mrs. Jones to walk out of there feeling in some way connected, in some way healed, and in some way at peace.
Yes. And that's the important bit, is that they've got that peace of mind that their loved ones are around them, that the peace of mind that they've gone to wherever they've gone, peace of mind that they know what's going on around them now. It's the little things, like you said, the peace is the most important part of it. Because if you're going there and you're giving them uncertainty or you're giving them worry when they're leaving, are you really doing your job?
Yeah, I mean, we have heard stories, haven't we, of people being told various things. We heard one earlier today that somebody shared with us, didn't they, where somebody they knew had been told that we're going to die or something.
Yeah, their mum's going to die in 3 months. And
they didn't.
Yeah, they literally put their work off, everything. And I just don't understand it. And
can you imagine that? I mean, somebody tells you you're going to die in 3 months. Oh, my God, I must spend all my savings. I must fulfill my bucket list. And 6 months later, you're still here and you've got no money left and no bucket list either.
Exactly. And this is the problem, that you can have human error with it. And this is where you just got to hold your hands up and say, I interpret it wrong. Whereas a lot of the mediums, sometimes when they get wrong, they double down on it. Yeah. I think this is where you need to distinguish whether it's your ego taking over or whether it is spirit.
I think that there is also an onus on the questioner, the querent as well, to not be too gullible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like it's all very well training mediums, but how about in the same way as we teach people to look before they cross the road, that we actually teach them to discern between what is meaningful to them and what isn't.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good point, because you could be the best medium in the world, but there's going to be someone you're not going to be the right medium for.
That's correct.
Because you're not going to say the things that they want to hear. Because everyone's got a different idea on what evidence is or what is proof for them. And I always say that as a medium, it's our job just to deliver what we get. It's not our job to make people believe, because we can't control whether we've given enough to them, but that's down to them. So yeah, that's a very good point. And I wish it would be as simple as teaching them, but everyone's going to have different quality of, because some people, like I said, the one word, just breathe, that meant a lot to them. But I could say the exact same thing to someone else who had the same experience. They'd be like, oh, that's quite a generic thing. So I do think it depends on the people and the community.
But if you've actually gone directly to somebody and said that, and it's meaningful,
exactly,
theirs, they own it, and you've given it, that's the evidence. Thank you very much. Next.
And that's exactly it. So I think it depends again on the situation that you deliver it as well, because if you're just shouting that out in who can take the phrase just breathe, whereas if you like
3 people will go like that,
because you always have the one person who'll take everything as well.
You do,
as well.
Yeah.
So and this is where where I think mediums need to learn whether the information is for the person they're giving it to. And I'm guilty of this sometimes, where it don't feel quite right, but no one else has taken it. So sometimes I have.
When I saw you work, Gethin, you work very quickly. You're not poncing around, with doing all of this sort of thing. You work very, very quickly, which speaks to your very good connection. What's next for Gethin Minds?
What's next for me? Oh God, that's a very good question. It's a question I'm asking myself all the time. I'm in the process of writing 2 books, but
good. What are they about?
So the one is a philosophy book where I'm just channeling through spirit, and because I pre-write all of my philosophies because I'm dyslexic.
Right.
So when I do a service, I read it out because 2 birds, 1 stone. So it's a bit selfish, but I'm pushing myself out my comfort zone.
Practical.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't have to think on the spot. So yeah, I channel with my guides and my team and do inspirational writing. So I'm writing 1 book there, and then there's another one which is called Spirits to Spirit. So it's going from being an alcoholic to spirit.
That's a good title.
Yeah. So so that's the title of that. So that's just basically going to be like showing my journey through my life. So after every show, every reading I do, I give myself like a review, if you will. So I've got a massive journal from when I first started, making notes and everything like that. So it's like little snippets from in our book. So yeah, that they're in the process. So that's coming. But I don't know. want to keep inspiring other mediums with the standard of mediumship, which again, it could seem quite big-headed, but I feel that the standard has dropped massively.
It's not big-headed at all. I mean, let's consider Stephen O'Brien. I mean, Stephen is a wonderful medium. He's been a wonderful medium all his life, and he's written loads and loads of books. And now he runs an academy and this, that, and the other. But he's brilliant because he's always stuck to his morals and his belief systems. And that's why, which it might irritate some people. It doesn't irritate me, and I'm sure it doesn't irritate people that really want to know and learn either.
Yeah, and I think that's the point where I'm kind of like constantly battling, is because I'm not very well liked in the mediumship movement. I've been told numerous times about people moaning about me, and because I'm only just come on the circuit, and I'm doing better and taking other people's spots and stuff like that. Me personally, I don't see it as a competition. I'm on my own path. The only person I'm being better than is myself.
I mean, you're not in competition with yourself, and I think when the reason that you are popular is because you're very good, and your potential to be even better is incredible. And I wish you well on your future journey. Gethin Myers, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you as our guest.
It's been a pleasure.
On In the Psychic's Chair. So, big thank you to Gethin for being with us this evening, and we'll be back again next week with another guest in the Psychic's Chair.
Walls Have Ears, 1843 to 1877, Volume 1. Why not tune in to Showboat Television Online, Roku or Amazon Fire and watch Whisperings of Craig E. Noss, produced by John Rolls and based on channeling and books by Lazarus Carpenter. A journey into the paranormal, only on Showboat Television. Book available from Artist and Makers Emporium SA9, 1GL, Amazon, and LazarusCarpenterAuthor.com. Volume 2 coming soon.
Here we are in what is now the honeymoon suite at the castle, but originally it was Adelina's chapel. And if you can look up there, you can see the vaulted ceiling, which is different to all the other rooms, and also the stained glass window. Originally, there would have been stained glass windows on either side, of course, and obviously she would have had her altar or whatever here. There's a side room, a vestry or an anteroom for perhaps the priest who may have come occasionally. Of course, she was a devout Catholic, and every day she was here at the castle, she came here. And the gardener would make sure that there were fresh flowers here every day when she was here.
This was his breathing, her cough, and feel very well up. A lot of sadness in here, I think.
Yeah, I felt a lot of like dizziness. Like there's like a pain on the stomach area as well. But yeah, there's a lot of pain around the stomach area, lots of dizziness, very like not steady on my feet with it. I do feel quite a masculine, abrupt energy, if you will, quite a very forward energy with yourselves. Cool.
I feel very heady, quite dizzy. My lungs are hurting, and my chest is hurting.
When you say around your chest is hurting,
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
So around the rib cage.
Yeah, just top of the stomach, around the rib cage. Yeah.
Sick feeling as well, isn't it?
Yeah. They keep showing me like a little knife or like a little dagger thing as well. But it's like got quite like a detailed handle, so it's got the blade and kind of like curves, if you will. But it's a detailed handle with like a curvy bit on each side, and then the handle with like gold tips. So I don't know whether that's connected with them, but I know that it would have been accessible with them.
So we've got two visitors here.
Yeah.
We've got Adelina with you, by the sound of things.
What about the lady crying as well?
Yeah.
Is that right too?
What I'm aware that Adelina's in the room,
Yeah.
and I'm aware she's stood behind you. Yeah, the outlines.
Because she's in my.
Yeah. She's titchy. She's very titchy. And it's an absolute privilege that she's joined us. I mean, this was her chapel. It's a real privilege. Welcome, Adelina. If people that don't know the reason you were experiencing problems with your ribs is that before Adelina passed, she fell down the stairs and she did fracture some ribs and later developed pneumonia and then passed. Hence breathing difficulties and everything else. And the fact that you've got a titchy woman standing next to you, very much like her. And she's smiling and she is wearing a very long, bustle, that's it, at the back. Very typical of that era too. Yeah, excellent. Shall we go somewhere else? Change would shift in the energy. Justin, I think you.
Yeah, I had a pressure on my head as I walked into it, and like I got like this pressure around my eye as well. Like it feels like a little bit swollen, if you will, when I walked into it.
So as if you had an injury.
Yeah, you know, kind of like when like someone's like either hit you with something or you.
Yeah.
That's the kind of feel, but it kind of makes me feel like someone's either holding like a piece of meat or something to their eye, if that makes sense. Like I feel like someone's pressing something thicker towards their face. So
to try and bring the swelling down.
Yeah.
Piece of steak, perhaps.
Yeah.
I wonder who, have we got a name?
The only thing that came in was Adrian.
Adrian.
Yeah.
Adrian. Yeah.
And then also Griffith. Yeah, as well. Came forward. So I don't know whether that's their name or relevant to it, but yeah, there's definitely a younger energy. I don't feel very old with them at all.
I can feel a real energy build up in this room in the last 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
It's getting really active in here.
Very hot as well, and that's how I know it's very active.
I mean, it's very hot and you're standing next to an open window.
Yeah, and there's a breeze coming in.
There's a breeze coming in and it's still very hot. Yeah.
So,
energy at the side of my face, no down my hand. This side.
What are you feeling?
So tingly in energy.
Tingly.
Oh, yeah.
Right. What's something behind me? I mean, it's very interesting that here we are in the middle of the day. This is not your atypical, let's have a look and see the ghosties. This is not what we are about. And I think what we are giving evidence of is that Craignos Castle is as active during the day as it is at night. There is no division. And what's fascinating about that is people always seem to think that it's at night when spirit becomes active. And of course it isn't. Is it?
No.
All of the time.
All of the time, yeah. 24/7.
And yet people have so difficult. I mean, I find that quite logical.
Yeah.
I find it quite logical. Not strange at all, really. I mean, we're here all the time.
Yeah.
Night or day. Why shouldn't they be? So there's something standing behind the cameraman. which is taller than his shadow against the wall. Maybe 6'2", 6'3". And it's very, can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
I can just see the energy of it.
Yeah. And it's to the left of David, isn't it?
It's just standing though. It's not.
Yeah, it's not doing anything. What? Hello. Who are you? What? Can you give us your name, please? I just got Simon then. Well,
I had an S.
I don't think Simon was his Christian name.
No,
I
I
had
an S.
Yeah.
I did have an S.
Yeah.
But I also had Arthur.
Arthur Simon.
Yeah, could well be.
Yeah. That's another one for us to research there, Mr. Marsh. In the annals.
Arthur Stone.
Arthur Stone. You know an Arthur Stone?
No, but we can have a think about that.
Yeah.
Try and relate it to any of the notes.
Well, let's have a wander to the hospital now. So we'll join you again upstairs.
I got all my shoulders.
The staircase seems so much longer than it usually does. But I mean, I'm again feeling a lot of energy around here, and a feeling of going forward.
I felt like I was being pushed rather than just fall.
Yeah.
I felt like I got pushed down the stairs rather than just fell.
And of course, one of the rumours is that she was pushed down the stairs.
Okay.
And did the Baron not admit it, Jeremy?
No, never admitted there was any.
But he equally didn't deny it, did he?
Because I felt it was more, I was walking normal, and then rather than just.
In the psychic's chair, the veil between worlds thins, as the smoke deep and let the unseen truths of the merged, guiding us into the unknown.